Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of our client transformation series. I am so excited because there has been so many things happening with this client transformation, and our guest client is on the line with us right now. How are you doing today?
I am doing well, just overjoyed.
Yes, absolutely. We have done so much over the last 3 weeks. We've only had really 3 weeks to work out what it is that we are doing. And we're going to just share a little bit with you about what Carolyn's progress has been like as we have started this client transformation series. But first, before we do that, I want to share some of Carolyn's story with you because I think it's important for people to understand how all of this started for her. So let's get ready to do that. And I'm excited for you to learn more about her. And I just look forward to interacting with you and hearing your comments as we go through and share all the things that have happened as we go forward with this client transformation series with Carolyn Murphy.
I knew that something was wrong with me because I was angry all the time. Fear has been a big part of my life. I always excelled in things that I knew I was going to excel in. Losing siblings at a very young age. I'm the oldest of a total of 6. 3 are deceased. So I was in charge of watching my siblings. One sibling died of brain cancer 2 years after she was born. 2 siblings at once, at the same time, died in a house fire. My mother had me when she was 16 years old. So at that point, she was going through her own trauma, but I didn't know it. That trauma left me with wondering, why was I saved? Fast forward, being molested still around that time, also being molested by a grown man. And then fast forward to when I was 17, I was raped. After that, as the Lord told me, I had been living a life of Russian roulette. I never turned to drugs. I never did drunk alcohol, but my choice of drugs was men. In and out of relationships, looking for love in all the wrong places. When a girl has been violated, she eventually equates love with sex. And those are 2 different things. I want to share my story with the people because, first of all, it's time. I can no longer hide behind the fear and the shame. It's time also because I know that I have been healed and delivered from the things that has happened to me. When you are living in shame and living in fear, it causes you to resist change, and it keeps you in a fixed mindset. And now that I have been delivered out of that, the growth mindset forces me to move forward. So I believe that we all have a purpose, but it's shameful when you know you have a purpose and you haven't sought out the purpose. I have sought out my purpose. This is part of the plan, and I'm just embracing the plan and walking therein.
Wow, Carolyn, every time I hear your story, it's just so powerful to me to think about all the things that you went through and how you are overcoming and continuing to overcome. And even with this transformation series, it is a part of your overcoming journey. How has going through this process, this coaching, helped you as you start to tell your story to the people?
It's been trying. It's been difficult. It's been really difficult having to rehash the things that has happened. There are tears, but there's tears of joy, tears of looking back and seeing that God has brought me through those things. I remember when the tears used to come, and those were the tears that were asking God to allow me to die because I just got tired of going through the things that I was going through. Um, but I know um, I have to keep going regardless because it's not about me. And that's what I keep hearing in my spirit. It's not about me. I have to open my mouth and tell my story. And, and then God has allowed me and reminding me that the things that we go through is not for us. Even though we take it personal, it's not for us because it's going to be another Carolyn come behind me. And I have to be able to tell her, you can do this. Take her by the hand and say, you can do this. We can do this. So I have to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do at this point is tell you exactly what it is that Carolyn wanted to do. But before we do that, we're going to share her profile with you so you can know exactly the circumstances that she came from. You heard some of her story. And sometimes as we are going through and we're trying to achieve those goals, it is what we have gone through that tries to pull us back in. But Carolyn has shown this courage. And I love the phrase that she continues to say, which is, I am breaking up with fear. She continues to break up with fear every day so she can push forward into what it is that she wants. So let me share her profile with you. Carolyn is the child of a single mother. She's dealt with instability, anxiety, grief, trauma. And then at age 19, she became a single mother herself, and she was dealing with overwhelm. So she decided that she wanted something different from her life. She didn't know exactly how to do it, but she knew she wanted something different. And so she started to get the help that she needed. And as she started to get the help that she needed for herself, she saw that she could help other people. So what Carolyn wanted to do was to write and publish a book. She wanted to scale her business. She wanted to become a community change agent, and she wanted to cause global transformation. So when she told us what her goals were, we formulated a plan. Now, Carolyn's plan had been to start writing her book in about 5 years. And I laughed at that when I heard. And I told her, I said, no, we don't do that here. I said, you can have a book in 6 weeks. So we set her up on the max package of a 6-week journey. And so with our assistance, by the end of the 6 weeks, she is going to write and publish a book. She is going to have a professional website. We're going to transform her social media pages. Also, we are developing her coaching packages. We're helping her create her course, and we are helping her craft her signature talk. In week 7 of our series, we're going to have the total package done, and you will get to see everything that she was able to achieve in the 6 weeks during the client transformation series. When you look at that, how is it making you feel thinking about all the things, like where you want it to be and all the things that we plan to achieve?
I have to pinch myself. I can, even just this time last year, never would have thought. This business wasn't even on the radar. So what a difference a year makes.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I have to say, you just have to repeat after you. I started breaking up with fear a few years ago, but I kept going back to it.
Mm,
But I took fear by the jugular in January when I decided I was going to do this business.
yeah.
And that's what I hope to demonstrate to others, to break up with your fear, because we have a purpose. You have a story. Somebody needs to hear your story. And if you don't talk, they won't know. And there are
Yeah.
people that we are assigned to that if they don't hear your story, they won't make it through.
Yeah. So it is week 3, and we've already stated all the things that we wanted to help Carolyn with. And let me tell you, it has been a whirlwind, but we are doing it. So I want to briefly share with you all the things that we have done so far. leading up to episode 3. So this is 3 weeks of sessions. All right, just 3 weeks of sessions. And I'm going to share with you what we have already done. So you see, this is her total package. And this is her progress report for week 3. So we've already outlined her signature tote. We've already done that. We've already started setting up her professional website. And as you see, this is the top page of her professional website. It has her logo on it. Here it tells you a bit about who she is. These are her pillars, and it tells you also what it is that she is offering, such as the coaching, the courses, the peer-to-peer and listening sessions. Also, you see down here, she's going to have a book, of course, because we are going to be helping her publish her book. And I love the things that she wants to do about expanding the reach, empowering individuals. And she wants to make sure that she is having a true impact on people. Also, she's sharing what her pillars are. She wants to educate people. She wants to advocate for people. Also, she wants to empower people. This is where hope lives. So she's giving that message throughout her entire website. And she doesn't want you to face the challenges alone. She wants you to know that there is somebody who is willing to walk alongside you so that you can have the life you want to live. Also, one of the other things we did was we created the first draft of Carolyn's digital brochure. Now, some people may ask, what is the purpose of a digital brochure? Number one, it captures the customer's attention. It presents information in an interesting manner. It's versatile. It provides lead generation, provides an overview of who you are, outlines what you offer. It builds trust. It's quick, convenient, and text message ready. That is one of my favorite aspects of the digital brochure, because when someone says, tell me about your business, I can give them a speech, but I can also quickly text message them that digital brochure, and they can quickly share that with other people. And so here's a look at the first draft of her digital brochure. And so you see, this is a trifold, so you are able to actually print this out if you desire as well. And she has her business name on here, what she desires to do as far as helping people. She tells you how she's going to help transform your life. She also provides the important information that people need so that they are able to get in touch with her when they're ready to engage her services. Here it shares a little bit of her story and why she exists, what her overall vision is for helping people. And I love this vision. She wants to offer a non-judgmental, safe environment for people. Also, she wants to transform the negative mindset to a positive mindset. She wants to encourage leaders, especially those in the Black church, to embrace and normalize the conversation about mental health. And she wants to become a gateway for mental health education, events, collaboration, resources, and prayer to catalyze people to share their emotional distress. And then also we share her programs. And then the other thing that we started working on is the book itself. So what's exciting about that is how we are approaching her book. So one of the things we're doing is we are using the elements of a screenplay plot to help her write her book. And so the 5 elements are exposition, inciting incident, rising action, climax, and resolution. So when you purchase her book and you start to read it, you will see these different aspects throughout her book. The exposition provides the background information. That is what you'll find in the introduction. The inciting incident, it tells her what action was sparked so that she can move forward. And then with the rise in action, it's about all the conflict, the failure, success, because that is how life is. We go forward, we try to achieve a goal. Sometimes we're knocked back, but we don't stop, we keep going. The climax determines, it lets us know, did she succeed or did she fail? And of course, the resolution is the conclusion of it all and the life lessons learned along the way. And so last week in episode 2, we shared a draft of her table of contents. And as you can see, we've already outlined what the chapters will be. Of course, this is just a draft, and eventually we will have the actual chapter names there. But this is a great start to her moving forward with her book. Now, in this week's session, we determined which courses she was going to offer. We started outlining and detailing her coaching packages, and we started collecting information for her to complete her website as well. And we are starting to fill out her book draft. Carolyn, I want to know, what has been your favorite thing to do?
I think the website, because I had already been kind of working on some stuff or visualizing what I want on the website. So to see it come into fruition is outstanding. I'm a real business now.
I'm a real business now.
Yeah.
And what has been the most challenging aspect of this journey so far?
The whole thing has been challenging because in between grad school, working full time, working on the business, working with you, it's been an ordeal. It's been trying physically or in the human aspect and especially spiritually. We've been attacked in all kind of ways, but this just confirms every day or every week that this is something that we have to do. Because one thing that I've learned, the devil won't mess with you if you're not doing anything that's going to tear his kingdom down. So
Mm.
the way I see it, my story is a threat to him. And that just keeps me going.
And what would you say to people who say, oh, I don't have time to write a book. I don't have time to start my business. I don't have time for this or that. What would you tell them?
We do what we want to do. And my thing is invest in yourself. That's something that I really had to learn is to invest in yourself, because when you invest in yourself, that's love. That's part of self-love. And you don't want to go to the grave with all these gifts and talents and your purpose, because there are people attached to you that need to hear your story, that need to see you succeed. Even though they may not act that way, they may not even support you, but deep down, they do.
Yeah, I love it. I am going to share my screen again, and we're going to talk about what we did in the last session. As I said in the live, in this week's session, we start talking about the courses, the coaching packages. We also were looking at how to complete her website and filling out her book draft. Carolyn had 3 courses that you were considering, right?
You said yes,
Okay,
initially.
initially. And then she shared with me her metamorphosis perspective. And I said, oh man, that could be like 4 individual courses. And she was like, what? I was like, that could be 4 individual courses. And so we are in the process of developing 7 courses for her. Those 7 courses are how to build a support system to help you manage your anxiety, how to cope with anxiety, how to embrace change, how to cultivate a positive mindset, how to tackle limiting beliefs, how to embrace transformation, how to deal with grief and loss. Each time we have a session, Carolyn has homework that she has to do so that we can continue moving forward in the process. And so one of the things that she had already started doing was working on the outlines for the courses that she had already developed. And as a part of her homework going into the weekend and into next week, I asked her to also create outlines for the 4 additional courses so that she can go ahead and start building these out as well. Another thing that we worked on was the introductions for the courses, because how you present the courses to people usually determines whether or not they're interested in it. And as I added on here that to have as a pro tip, place 1 to 2 sentences of your story within the introduction to relate to the people and share what they will experience within the course. So for example, when we go to how to cope with anxiety, one of the things I asked her to do was share what her experience was like as she was trying to deal with anxiety in an improper way and what she was actually experiencing. And so that makes people who are experiencing the same thing gravitate toward her, because the first thing they'll say is, that sounds just like me. So we were going through that. And Carolyn, how did you feel as we were going through that, sharing a part of your story?
Tough. I just remember that, just doing up these things wrong. just being reminded that there are two different type of coping skills. There's the negative and there's the positive. And when you're going through trauma, you're actually adopting all of the negative trauma
Mhm.
to just be able to cope. So just me rehashing everything just lets me know I was just doing a lot of things that was harming me, but yet it was getting me through.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, so that was one thing, and so she'll be working on this assignment and completing her outlines for the remaining courses, and also working on her introduction. We started talking about her coaching packages, and I was really excited about this. One, Carolyn already had pricing for each of her coaching packages. We just titled them Basic, Advanced, and Premium. And then we started talking about what those packages would include. And over here, you can see the coaching topic ideas include limiting belief, triggers, managing emotions, setting up a support system, enacting appropriate boundaries, and goal setting. And I just want to point out something here. You saw what her courses were about, and you see what her coaching is about. When you are building out a business, everything should be in line with one another in some kind of way. It doesn't have to be the exact same topics, but it should be in line so that people will know that this is your particular brand. And my pro tip for building out the coaching packages is your coaching package should have a natural progression that's set for clear goal achievement with visible proof. It is so important that when you say we can do this for the client, that you actually have visible proof. For example, for us, when we say we're going to help you write and publish a book, at the end of the process, you will have an actual published book. People may not see the writing and everything we do behind the scenes, like the editing, the formatting, going back and forth, the beta reading, and all of that, but they will see that you have a published book. To move forward, a lot of people need that checklist of goals. Some people can be in it for the long run, but most of us don't have the patience to actually be like, oh, it's on down the road. And that's why it's important to have visible proof. So for example, for Carolyn, her visible proof will probably become more so in the aspect of people sharing videos. So for example, somebody may say, you know, when I encountered this person, I was always triggered. But after going through Carolyn's program, I learned how to control my breathing. I started looking at them in a different way, and I was no longer being triggered by, and my emotions were no longer being triggered because of my interaction with that person. But products, other services, give them some type of visible proof showing that what you're actually able to do. And also I put on here, when determining what your client should receive, think session title, appropriate assignment, and a follow-up service. So I tell my clients all the time, you get a session and you get a service, and also they get an assignment to help push them forward. And as Carolyn can tell you, we are pushing. I don't think there is a week where we have not worked on something behind the scenes to make sure that we are achieving our goals. Because we want to definitely finish it within the 6 weeks so that at week 7, we can provide you all with the full presentation. So make sure your clients are getting high quality, no matter what it is that you're offering. Even if you don't have a coaching package, whatever you're working in, give them high quality. So whatever it is that you have to discuss, whatever they can do for themselves, and how you can service them even after the fact. Carolyn, what are your thoughts about coaching package?
It's a lot. I'm excited because out of all my research, one thing that I know that you need a signature coaching package.
Yeah.
And I desire to offer high ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to tell them the pricing for your coaching packages, or you want to save that for the big reveal?
I can tell them now. I will have 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. And dealing with my niche, it takes time to to transform from a negative mindset to a positive mindset. So that's why my duration is 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. One thing that I have learned in my research that coaching is a luxury, but it's necessary
Mm-hmm.
because coaching is for those who are stuck. And if you've made peace with your past, but you're trying to go forward and you don't know how to go forward, that's what coaching is. So I tell people that coaching is a luxury, necessary luxury. And so, but it's not cheap. And so my coaching packages will be 5,000, 8,500, and 10,000.
She going for it. And I say go all the way. Don't hold
Yep.
back. Don't hold back. All right, I'm going to share my screen again. Besides the coaching packages, we are working on her website, and the first page is pretty complete, but Carolyn has various videos, photos, and blog posts and different locations, and we're working to bring all of those together. So my pro tip is to reuse and repackage what you previously created to fit your current website needs. Pull it all under one roof for a seamless customer and client experience. So if you have pre-made videos, you may be talking about one particular thing toward a specific group, but what can you pull out of that video, a clip out of that video to share on your new website? What events have you gone to? Maybe it's not an event where you were speaking at, but maybe it is an event related to something that you're doing. So showing people that you are active in what it is that you're doing. Popular graphics and quotes. Is there a quote that you shared with people and that they love? Let's add that to your website, or a graphic that you complete, that you created. And can we make it downloadable with your logo on it so that other people are able to share that on their pages, so social media pages? That just gives you more visibility. And of course, blog posts, you can always regurgitate those in some type of way. And it's so important to always have your upcoming events on your website so people can know where they can connect with you at. So Carolyn, just a few thoughts on how you're going to utilize those things that you create in the past for your website.
Well, I know for blog posts, because I have a blog that I want to get published. And I actually want to create a podcast with the same name of my blog. And when it comes to some of the blog posts, and because they're long, I can always condense it and shorten them for shorter posts. And like you said, or I can actually read it and make it a reel. So it just depends on how creative you can get. I'm still learning, but it keeps you from having to constantly sit in front of the computer when you learn to repurpose what you've already done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to say with your blog post, I would say don't condense it. I would say create a series with it. Give people
Mm,
a little, give them small bites each week.
okay.
And that way, for example, if you're putting your blog out once a week and you have a really long post, break it up into 4 or 5 posts, and that'll be your blog post for the whole month. So consider
Mm,
that. All right.
okay. Okay.
And we're, like I said, we're getting closer to the really good part of tonight. And the last part of what we addressed this week was book draft. So we've already started working on the introduction to her book, and we already have the chapters. But one of the things we want to do as we start writing in each of those chapters is making sure we are able to connect with the audience. So I gave Carolyn a list of questions that helps us develop each of those chapters in a way that it will connect with the audience. And the pro tip for this is give your audience a sensory experience as you tell your story. So they need to know what it is that you see, what it is that you're hearing, what are you touching, what are you smelling, what are you tasting, how are you moving, how is your body aware of certain things. And these are just 7 of the questions that I asked her to answer for each of the chapters, but it's actually 13 to 14 questions per chapter I asked her to answer so that we can fill those chapters out. So describe the colors you saw, describe the smells you experienced. What did you see around you? Was there a taste? Why did you hear? Describe the character and personality of the people. What emotions were you experiencing? And the example I would give you is thinking about if it was raining outside. You can either say it was raining outside, or you can say it was a dark, cloudy day. The rain thumped the front porch. The rain, I walked outside and I stuck my tongue out. I could taste the saltiness of the rain as it was coming down. I knew this was not going to be the day I wanted it to be. And so when you think about the first example is raining outside, or how the drops thump against the porch, how this person tasted the saltiness in the raindrops. Which one are you going to most likely want to be able to connect with? Carolyn, what are your thoughts?
I agree. Being very descriptive does draw your audience in. So that's something I endeavor to try to do. I know I can do it speaking verbally, but I'm not sure how I can do it writing.
So that is one of the techniques that we have been using with Carolyn. So I asked her to just tell me the story, and I asked her questions in the process. And they may seem like regular questions to everybody else, but it's the way I'm utilizing to build the descriptions within her story. And so after the session, we have those transcribed, and then we look at how we can reshape those into a chapter, which is what we're getting ready to do now. You're going to just hear a piece of where we're starting with the introduction. Carolyn, are you ready? Are you ready to read?
I think so.
And this is just a snippet of the introduction. I hope you all enjoy and just put all yourself into it, Carolyn. The floor is completely yours.
Cold. That's how it always felt. No matter the season, winter, summer, spring, or fall, coldness laid over our house like thick ice. Mom would come home soon. I had to clean the kitchen, though it was not much. Mismatched dishes, barely food in the refrigerator at times, unless it was the first of the month. Lack, always lack. However, I could not concentrate on this. I needed to clean. We needed the jars for drinking glasses. The pots had to hold the food in the refrigerator. I closed the lunch meat up as tight as I could. We needed it to last. I hear the door opening. Mom is home. I stood hopping, hoping it was good enough. It always seemed like something was wrong, no matter how well I did. Oh no, I thought. My baby sister pulled out that ragged toy again. Carolyn, I heard my mother shout. I thought I told you to clean this house. I did. She just wanted to play. It's never good enough. What do you expect? Life never seemed like it was good. And if a spark of joy opened to occur, it would quickly fizzle with the snapping of her words. Though she was harsh, I didn't blame her. What can you expect from a woman who became a mother at 16 and didn't feel love? The words that her mother never loved her were always on her lips. And even though I craved her love, I knew I could not ask for it. At that time, she was experiencing her own life trauma. Despite how I saw her struggle, hate resided in me for this woman. I needed my mom, but I knew I could not have her, at least not then. Why didn't my mother love me? Soon the house would become silent again. She would head out for nightly drinks and games. Safety would envelop us again. Mom didn't usually hit us, but her words smacked us like they had thrown us across the floor, always tinged with pain from her experiences. This was my life. Creaky floors, old heaters, just enough to say we had a taste to eat. dancing in the alley to the latest music for fun. She had her escapes. That was mine. Come on, Tammy. That new song is on the radio. I love this song. Would anyone ever love me the way he loved about that girl in the song? How do you do that step, Tammy? Let's do it again. I wanted to make sure we get it right this time. Getting it right, I always wanted to get it right.
How do you feel reading that?
A trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we recorded Carolyn as she shared the story, and we took those bits and pulled them together to start helping her create her introduction. I would love to hear what either Kaylin has to say or Hyacinth. How did you feel hearing that introduction? Did you feel like you were able to peer into her life at that time?
Oh, yes, I was right there with her, waiting on the next step. I was waiting to hear if her mom was going to get violent or anything of the sort. I like how she was able to establish her own kind of peace, just going back to with her sister and getting lost in a song where she could, dance and get the steps right. And I guess again, with the age that she would have been, I'm trying to envision the dance. Trying to envision the dance, want to get the steps right. You know what I mean? That's going to develop quite nicely. I like the way that you said, Jackie, that I remember when I was young and I used to, like in school and trying to write a story, I could not do it. I used to go straight for the jugular, the heart of the story, one straight line, no fancy, nothing. And then if I had to write, like, let's say a 500 word, because I was going for the jugular, I end up at about 250 if I can get there, until I learned what you were talking about, how you can start. I mean, you can start about an incident that's supposed to happen on Friday of a week, and you could start writing that story about what it looked like. The week began, and it seemed that it would be filled with expectation, joy. I had words, and every day to Thursday was filled with something, So I like how she's filling that story, and I can see you'll have some words. Yes. I love it. Yeah.
Love it. What about you, Kaylin? How do you feel hearing that?
Breathtaking. Hearing, because it's just growing up hearing different stories about my mom's past and stuff. I didn't really get the full detail of it, so hearing it now, um, it it opens me up to more emotions, and it gives me a better feel to see how she felt at that time. Having a basically a child raise a child. It was very hard. I know back then it was very hard because things were definitely different than it was now. So also knowing how my grandmother is, so it just leaves me speechless. Not in a bad way though. It just really leaves me speechless.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just say something? I like the fact that even to what Caroline was saying with her story, it seems as though even as a child, Caroline understood that the mother was also a baby herself, and she was just acting out of here. So Caroline chose not to be really angry with her, that she, even though she was young, she was sort of understanding something about this whole process. Even though she couldn't quite put her hand on it, she chose not to be angry with her mother, So that's something that I got out of what you read there just now, Caroline, So that's good to see how that would develop, if the anger is going to come sometimes and go sometimes, and in the final analysis, I would be waiting for the chapters, the page, and the paragraph, and the end.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's definitely has been a journey, but at the same time, this journey has created or revealed her purpose. And I'm looking at this, and she is building an entire business off of her experience. And I always tell people, when you are going through, it is not for you. It is so that you can help someone else. And so I just encourage people, if you have gone through something that's traumatic, if there is something that's hurting you, get help, and then learn how you can utilize that to help other people. Carolyn, as we wrap up, do you have any final words?
I would encourage to break up with your fear. Because if you don't break up with your fear, you'll live a life completely in fear. You won't pursue your purpose. You'll never know just how far you could have gone had you stepped out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things I've learned is greatness. There's greatness outside of your comfort zone. And I can definitely testify there's greatness. You feel when you're trapped by fear, it's like, I deserve more. I want more. But then you too scared to step out. And so I live by one moment at a time, one breath at a time, and allow yourself to feel. And the last thing is to invest in yourself. Don't go cheap. Sometimes we're taught, especially as women, to always put others before us. And in that you lose yourself. And then when it's time for you to step out, you don't even know who you are. But that can even be for men. We tend to wrap our identity in other people and things. And when those things get stripped away, we don't know who we are.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
this is going to end episode number 3. Thank you all so much for your continuous support of Carolyn. I am looking forward to episode 4 because we are now beyond the halfway point.
Yeah.
And week 7 is approaching, and we will have it all done and ready to go. It's time for you to get heard.